Alright everyone, today I'll be doing another large-scale review. This time I'll be taking a look at the Bachmann Coal Wagon with load. And I actually bought two of these models, mainly just because I wanted two of them for my collection. And I was really happy to finally get my hands on these, considering they've been discontinued and are probably going to start to become harder to find. But let's go ahead and get into the review. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the box because I actually showed the style of box in the last review I did on the tankers, I believe a couple months ago. But you can see it's the older style of boxing because it has the older Thompson Friends logo that used to be on the boxes. Going around to the back shows how old this is too, because we had a very small selection of characters available in large scale at the time. I believe the Coal Wagon, James, and a couple other wagons were announced in 2010. This box is actually dated 2009 here. And funny enough, I do notice we got the whole California warning there. I don't know why people insist on living in fear all the time. But yeah, not really much else I can say on the box. On this end, there is the little tag. It says Coal Wagon with load, item number, and everything. But yeah, that's basically the box. Go ahead and get these models open now. Okay, with the models out of their boxes, you can get a better look at them, and I'm really liking the look of those coal loads. But with each model, you get a bag of spare parts. There's just an extra coupler in there, and some lowering blocks if you want to lower the couplers to work with other large-scale stock. But there was a coupon for a Bachmann Trains 2010 catalog. That probably says a lot about when this was packaged. And lastly, there's this sheet, which we saw in the last review, mainly talks about changing polarity for locomotives, installing different couplers, and then lowering couplers. But yeah, and of course the other Coal Wagon came with the same stuff as well. But let's take a closer look at the model now. Now I've got a lot of things to say about this Coal Wagon because I'm really impressed with the overall look of it. And I'm actually having flashbacks to when I owned the HO model many years back, and I actually had 3 of those at the time. And again, when I got those, I was really impressed with them. And the same thing could be said for this large scale model. I like the choice of green that's on this. I like the fact these metal bits on the sides are separately painted. And I mentioned before, I really like the look of the coal load because it would have been so easy for Bachmann just to make this load level and call it a day, but the fact that it's uneven and there's a big heap on the front and a smaller heap on the back, I don't know, small detail, but it makes a lot of difference in my opinion. But like the other wagons in the range, we've got the typical buffer detail and hook detail. We got axle boxes and leaf springs underneath, as well as the brake rigging and the brake shoes. And also got all this rivet detail all around, and there is chain detail on the front here as well. And I just remember going back to when large scale started in 2009, everyone was amazed to see basically the HO models scaled up to the large scale models. And just seeing all the small details being more pronounced on the large scale stuff compared to the HO, which is obvious, it was really impressive. And you know, rolling stock like this is what impresses me a lot. But the coal load is removable. It's a bit of an effort to get it out of the wagon. I've actually taken the coal load out of the other coal wagon. You can see it's basically just a plate of coal, I guess, with a couple spokes here that helps it sit down in the truck without falling completely down in. So in a way, you get that idea that the truck's completely full of coal when it's actually not. But yeah, again, like I said, I'm really impressed with the coal load. But also, we got the typical hook and loop couplers on these wagons. I don't use these. I lower my couplers and put knuckle couplers on them, so that's what I'll be doing with these. Probably at a later date because I don't have any here at the moment. But I'm pretty sure some of you are probably curious whether or not these coal loads will fit in other wagons, and yes they do, but I'll go ahead and show you anyways. Alright, I went and got one of the troublesome trucks, and I'll show you what it looks like with the coal load. So just go ahead and put it in the model here. And that looks really nice. That is a lot more eye-catching than just an empty troublesome truck. But another thing I want to show you is I also went and got my custom Season 1 troublesome truck and put a coal load in that. And I personally am really impressed with this. That is a very eye-catching piece. Something I got to thinking about with these coal loads is I think it would be nice if Bachmann would release these separately and maybe not just stop at coal, but also make other loads like ballast or wood, and not just for large scale, but even HO. And I just think it'd be a lot nicer because the only way to really get these coal loads is to buy these wagons. And I bet you if Bachmann started making loads that they could sell separately for these wagons, I'm pretty sure people would buy them. Now, for those of you who are regular viewers, you may know that I purchased both of these models from Train World, and every time I order from them, they always send along a catalog, and this time I got two, one for N scale and one for large scale, probably because I bought items from both of those scales, but I wanted to show these real quick. They sent a thing here that I can get deals and updates texted to me, and I believe that's the same on both sides. But looking at the N-scale catalog, got stuff here from Cato and Broadway Limited. I don't need to point out everything. I'll just skim across here, and you can pause the video if you want to read anything. But quite a selection of N-scale stock there. And going around to the other side, we got stuff from Bachmann and Atlas. And again, quite a selection of N-scale stock. And I can see we got the Bachmann Thomas stuff there, and also narrow gauge. And I believe Train World said they were going to redo their website a little bit because people were getting confused seeing narrow gauge listed as HO, which even though it is HO, it's HON 30, so it's HO narrow gauge. Some people, I guess, didn't really understand that. But over here, large scale, we got stuff from LGB and Bachmann. Again, you can see what's here. There's the LGB Coca-Cola train they recently came out with. And also we got the Bachmann Thomas stuff here. Diesel and Paxton are here for pre-order, but the thing I don't understand with those is supposedly they were supposed to be shipping by the end of April. That didn't happen. Then they were supposed to be shipping by the end of May. That didn't happen. And here we are almost at the end of June and still nothing on those. So no idea what's going on there. But also we got the new Bachmann -9s. I don't know why these are listed as LGB because these are actually the old Aristocraft tooling. Good news for the guys that are waiting for the new 10-wheelers. Those, I guess, recently started shipping from China, so they should be at retailers soon. And you can see what else is here as well. But going around to the other side, also got stuff from MTH and Pico. And this is basically going to be the last of the MTH stuff, I guess, because if you haven't heard yet, MTH is apparently closing their doors at the end of 2021. I did hear a rumor that supposedly somebody bought MTH and they were supposed to stay open, but I think that was more so the rumor got twisted from supposedly some of these other manufacturers have been buying MTH's old toolings, and I guess that story got twisted and supposedly somebody bought MTH, but no, apparently MTH is coming to an end in 2021. But yeah, that's a look at those catalogs. So let's talk price. Now I paid $59.99 each for these. You might as well call that $60, which personally I feel like that's a reasonable price. I mean, these are discontinued. They're going to become harder to find. Train World was pretty much the only place I was able to find these wagons in stock. And like I said before, I'm really happy to have these considering they're probably going to be harder to find as, you know, the years go on. So what are my thoughts on the Coal Wagon with load? Well, like I mentioned before, I like the overall look of this wagon. I especially like the coal load and the fact it's removable and it can be swapped over to various open wagons. But when it comes to whether or not I'd recommend this piece of rolling stock, it basically is the same deal as any other piece of large-scale Thomas stock. Unless you're into this system, that's the only way it's worth going out and getting one of these wagons. I mean, you're not going to have an American setup and have models from like MTH or LGB and, you know, go out and buy these for your indoor or outdoor railroad. It's just not going to look right. But again, if you're into the large-scale Thomas & Friends line, that's when this piece of rolling stock is worth getting, and I think it's one of the more unique ones that Bachmann did. Like I said before, unfortunately, the Coal Wagon with load, it was discontinued quite a few years back now, I believe, but you can still find it from some retailers like Train World, for example, and in fact, Bachmann did announce a Coal Wagon for 2021, and I'll just bring up the catalog here, and you can see they call it the Sodor Coal Company wagon, and it has the Sodor Coal Company graphic on it, which I personally don't care for rolling stock like this. I know there was even a guy on Bachmann forum that mentioned about over time some of the rolling stock has gone from looking plain like it did in the series to this more gimmicky look like you see from like Trackmaster or Wooden Railway and such. Me personally, I don't care for that. This is why I went with these wagons, and again, I'm really happy to have these. But like I said, if you're somebody who is into the large-scale Thomas & Friends line and you want a unique piece of rolling stock, I think the Coal Wagon with load would be something to consider. So, again, I'd recommend it for that. But that's going to be all for this review. Feel free to let me know your thoughts on the Coal Wagon with load in the comments down below. Also, feel free to check out my other pages. There will be links in the description. And I'm heading off now and going to leave you with the running footage.